Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining me for Constellation Tour number 65. Tonight we're going to talk about the constellation Crater, or the Cup. And Crater is best viewed between March and May, although it is visible beyond that. So we have our software set up here for June the 1st, 2021, at about 15 minutes after 10.
June 1st, 2021.
So Crater is a faint, obscure constellation that is surprisingly easy to find because it's in proximity to Corvus the Crow, and Corvus is actually easy to find. So if you were with me for my previous constellation tour where we went over Corvus, that's wonderful. I'll go over real quickly again how to find Corvus. From mid-northern latitudes here, we have our software set up for a 60-degree apparent or true field of view, which gives you the view of the sky by naked eye. And this is from mid-northern latitudes, specifically from St. Louis. And we're looking due south, and you can see Antares here, or the heart of the scorpion. And you can see Spica here, almost due south, the brightest star in that region.
Yes.
And then just to the lower right of Spica, you'll see this square here.
Yes.
That looks a lot like Hercules. That is Corvus the Crow.
Okay.
So once you have found Corvus the Crow, Crater is just off to the right of it, and it's several faint stars, and even from the suburbs it may be hard to make out any of it. So I'm going to help you here with the constellation lines. And you can see Corvus here, these 4 stars that are easy to find. And Crater, the Cup, is made up of these much fainter stars in the shape of a cup. Now both of these constellations are on the back of Hydra the water snake, which continues on and on in this direction. Hydra is the night sky's largest constellation. So it actually has 3 constellations kind of riding on its back: Corvus, Crater, and Sextans. But tonight we're going to talk about Crater. So Crater is going to present us with some challenges because it has no bright stars, it has no double stars on the AL list, no Messier objects, and no notable deep sky objects. So what I would do if I was diving into an obscure constellation like Crater is consult a star chart before I head out and find some objects that may be interesting, even if they're not on any of the popular observing lists, and then challenge myself to find them. So in order to do that tonight, let's venture to a dark site first of all.
All right.
Now that we're at a darker site, let's see if we can make out Crater the Cup. Okay, let's look a little bit south again. We see Antares here, the heart of the scorpion. Here are the claws. Here's the body of the scorpion. Up here we have Spica, the alpha star of the constellation Virgo. Just off to the lower right of that, we have the square of Corvus the Crow here, including the double here, Delta Corvi.
Yes.
Now, Crater the Cup. Even from a dark site, it is obscure. I'll trace it for you. Here's the bottom part of the cup. Okay, and this U shape is the upper part. I'll show you the constellation boundaries as well. And you can see Crater is actually a slightly larger constellation than Corvus.
That's true.
So, as I said before, there are no bright stars in Crater. So let's get back to this here. Let's use Stellarium as a star chart and imagine that we're preparing for our observing session before we even go outside. So we're going to zoom in a little bit here, and we're going to go into our viewing options. We're going to go into deep sky objects, and we're going to turn on labels. And we're going to crank this up until something appears. Let's see if there's anything to find. There we go. Okay, we've got some objects now. We can close this. So Crater does have a few objects in it, even if none of them are significant enough to appear in any of the popular observing lists. So this one here, let's just pick one at random. How about NGC 3831? Okay, Stellarium lists it as a galaxy of magnitude 10.9. It doesn't give me much other information. It doesn't give me its distance from Earth.
Okay.
It's mainly just coordinate information here. So most likely there's not an image of it in the database.
Okay.
So let's go ahead and look at a finder scope view. And of course, Stellarium is only going to show us an icon of where the object is in the sky.
Oh.
And the same thing will happen when we simulate an eyepiece view. So we don't get an idea of what NGC 3831 looks like with the software, but at least we do know that it's there.
All right.
So this is one of those instances where actual stargazing is going to be much preferred to using software.
Okay.
The software just helps us find it and prepare for an observing session. Okay, let's get back to the view we had before. Okay, let's see if we get lucky with one of these other galaxies. Let's try NGC 3672. That is even fainter. It's a magnitude 11.6 galaxy. This one does give a distance of 122 million light years from Earth.
Wow.
So that's even further away than the Virgo cluster.
Okay.
So you're looking way out into deep space here. Just fascinating in and of itself.
Right over there.
Right here. So let's take a look at the icon through the finder scope.
Okay.
And you can see what Stellarium does here. The further in you zoom, the more detail it's going to give you. So it starts populating even more objects in the database, at least the icons for them, as you zoom in.
Okay.
And then once again here, a simulated view through a 24mm eyepiece. And you can see just 3 background stars here along with an icon for NGC 3672.
Okay.
Let's go back out to a naked eye view. Really isn't a whole lot in that region.
No, it's
It
not.
looks like we have a nice little pair of galaxies here near the Hydra border.
Yeah.
NGC 3511. And sometimes when you click on it, you can't get Stellarium to give you that object. That's a star.
Wow.
So I just forced the issue by using the search function.
Yeah.
Oops. And my icon went away for some reason.
I didn't.
My labels and markers went away. There we go. Okay. NGC 3511. Now that we're looking at it through the finder, you can see that that galaxy that appeared right next to it is actually another NGC object. It's NGC 3513. This is a magnitude 11.6 galaxy located 56 million light years away. So only about half the distance of the previous galaxy. So there are some interesting galaxies to look for out in Crater.
Okay.
And again, through the finder, through a 24 millimeter eyepiece, we can actually get NGC 3513 and NGC 3511 in the same field.
Right.
3513 is not letting me click on it.
Oh.
Let's see, let's do it this way. There we go. NGC 3513 is even fainter.
Uh-oh.
Its magnitude 12.1.
Mm-hmm.
And its distance is 55 million light years from Earth. So it's about the same distance as its neighbor there, NGC 3511.
All right.
Some of the funnest nights I've had observing have been just exploring obscure constellations and looking at faint fuzzies that are off the beaten path, and these would definitely count.
Right. Thank you.
It's the hunt that can be fun.
Okay.
So to return Stellarium to planetarium mode rather than star chart mode, you can return to a naked eye field of view, which is 60 degrees. By the way, that's Control-Alt-3 on the keyboard.
Okay.
And then we can turn off all of these deep sky objects by simply unchecking labels and markers.
Right.
And turn off the constellation names.
Okay.
And now we have returned to a naked eye view.
Okay.
And for some reason my horizon went away.
Yay.
And show ground turned itself off. I had to turn that back on.
Yay.
Okay.
Okay.
Now we have our naked eye sky back.
All right.
So I appreciate you all hanging out with me here to explore Crater the Cup. I wish there had been more exciting objects to view, but it did present us with a kind of a unique challenge. So this concludes my presentation tonight, folks. Good night and good seeing.